Hey, what's up, guys? It's everyone's favorite anime and manga podcast, lOsTAKUS. I'm Eric.
And I'm JT.
This week, we're going to go ahead and cover the newest chapters that just came out.
Only 2 consecutive ones. We started this, we were thinking of discussing My Hero, One Piece,
and Dr. Stone.
And Jujutsu Kaisen. But when we started this, Jujutsu Kaisen went on hiatus, and My Hero is off this week, so we only have 2 mangas to talk about.
But luckily, we have a really good up-and-comer in Red Hood, and the second chapter just came out, and it was really good, so we're going to talk about that one.
Even though I said that we might hold it off until it's double chapters, but because of the shortest of mangas and the story seems to be progressing pretty well, forget it.
Yeah.
And there's some big news on it.
Oh yeah.
Well, not big news, but
it
did surprisingly well.
So they released the impressions on. They release impressions all the time on the previous week's Shonen Jump.
Basically, is like
lineup list, right? And people go in, vote for it, see which one left a good impression. Red Hood got #1 over even the continuous manga being One Piece, My Hero. It beat out My Hero. My Hero was at #2 and Red Hood was at #1. And that was one of the reasons why we decided to keep on talking about the second chapter. It got such a really good first impression. Yes, it's a first impression still, because it's, even though it's like the first chapter, it could still, it depends on the mangaka and how they take the story.
So at least in first impressions, you can say, hey, it started off really good.
Yeah, so
Sword Art.
And then a new one just got released as well today. It is the way, what was it?
Neru, the Way of the Martial Artist.
There you go. Neru, the Way of the Martial Artist. It is a martial arts, obviously, manga. So I'm really excited for that one. The first chapter is good. But first,
we'll get to it.
Yeah,
we'll get to it.
Any news for this week, JT?
Right, and every once in a while we'll bring in some news when some stuff happens. For me, the biggest one this week was the fact that Evangelion, the 3rd movie, Thrice Upon a Time, was basically licensed by Amazon. So it will be released through Amazon Prime. And if you have Amazon Prime and watch anime through Amazon Prime, you're probably one of the rare few, especially because they have such a short selection. So it's nothing compared to Funimation or Crunchyroll.
Yeah.
So it's really a waste. I honestly don't know many people who watch anime through Amazon Prime.
Same.
So kind of a bit of disappointment. Will they have a theoretical release? I don't know.
Theatrical.
They haven't.
Release. Yeah.
A theatrical release. I don't know.
I really hope so.
They haven't announced it, but they did put up a trailer, and it says theoretical trailer, but it's just the same trailer that they theatrical. Yeah, sure.
Theoretical. Ooh, theory. Science.
Anyways, it's just the same one from Japan.
Man, I really hope they have a theatrical release, because I want to see it in Dolby Digital. Evangelion, bruh, get out of here.
If not, I would literally just wait for it to come out on Blu-ray
and just get it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I could pirate it. It's very easy, but no.
What was the second piece of news that you had?
Lately, we've been talking about almost every week canceled mangas, right? So this week, I read a little snippet, which I found funny, was the writer of Kakegurui and another artist. They teamed up to create a new manga. I forgot what it was called. Doesn't really matter because it got canceled after 1 chapter. It was an isekai manga.
Of course, that's why it got canceled.
This guy gets isekai, and there's a bunch of people that have been isekai in this world, but they've turned into villains. So he goes around and kills them. Sounds interesting, right? The huge problem, which I don't know how it got through the editor or the company to publish it, was the fact that they parody a lot of characters from isekais. A ton of characters, almost all their villains. That's why it got canceled. Because they parodied. No. This is why it is dumb that they did it.
Yeah, it's dumb that they did it.
There is no original mangas out there. And if you get inspiration from another manga, that's great. Other characters inspired to create other characters, that's great. The Joker has inspired so many different characters throughout so many different platforms. But when you literally have them looking the same, dressing the same, and having the same attack styles, it's too obvious. And you have main characters from other shows be villains on your shows, killing people and stuff like that, killing characters, making them look bad. That's crossing the line.
Okay, in that defense, Gintama, a parody show.
It's a comedy, but they never ever take it serious or make actual characters.
That's true, they don't take it serious.
But this one, you're setting a tone. So the most blatant one was Kirito, right? So you know how Kirito looks. The way Kirito dresses in black and has 2 swords. His black jacket, his black coat from season 1 or part 1 of season 1. There's a character literally with almost the same looking weapon and the same jacket. It looks totally like Kirito, and he's a villain. And he's going off killing people.
And his name Naruto.
Who knows? I don't care. Apparently, the company had the author apologize, the artist apologize to the creators that he parodied. So there was comments by the author of That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime. They said, I've received an apology. Let's not let this happen again.
Did he copy Rimuru?
Yeah. No, not Rimuru. Another character from Rimuru. I forget which one. I don't remember the character. It doesn't matter. It got canceled after 1 chapter. And my favorite isekai light novel.
Please tell me he copied Subaru.
Nope.
Ah, damn.
Mushoku Tensei.
Oh.
I said light novel. That's anime.
Oh.
We're pointing. I have a poster of ReZero or a scroll.
I just wanted him to die. I was hoping
He would just come back. Remember, they were copying not only their looks and personalities, but also their powers. But yeah, the author from Mushoku Tensei tweeted out that he also received an apology, but he also put out a little bit of more comment or his opinion. Parroting a character and making it into your own, that's fine. Parroting your character and making them look and feel the same as the original main characters from the other works, that's a problem. Though it's not a huge problem, but it's still a problem. But then making them villains and blatantly doing everything that they do, but just in a bad way, nah, it's crossing the line.
That's interesting. That is interesting.
Again, there's plenty of characters that you can say, oh, this is similar to that person and similar to that person. Like, honestly, the new manga that we're going to talk about, Neru, the Way of the Martial Artist, that person, that guy has the mindset of Goku.
Bro, right? Oh my god! Like literally, I had to. Yeah, we're gonna get into that. Because I have some news as well, but we'll get into that. But yes, he did remind me of Goku. So for Dragon Ball fans, you might like this one. It's very.
Well,
I feel like
not even Dragon Ball fans, but if you like Goku
or martial arts,
I don't see why, but you'll probably like Neru. And on to your news.
So the news that I had that was really interesting that I saw today was that Disney is teamed up. Well, Disney Lucasfilm, because they're owned by Disney now. Disney Lucasfilm is teaming up with different animators from Japan, and we're talking Production IG, we're talking
Ghost in the Shell.
I honestly forgot the rest of but it's just not the ones that came to mind, but different animators from across different companies, and some of these guys legends in the animation industry. They asked them to create short series for Star Wars. So they're it's badass.
Their own original animations with short stories.
Yep, for Star Wars, cool. And they're including each animator from these different companies are each making their own kind of short story of Star Wars, and they're gonna animate it, and I think it's releasing on Disney Plus.
I'm not a Star Wars fan.
Same,
but I would watch that.
Same.
The concept of it is just like WandaVision. I loved WandaVision just because they went throughout different sitcoms, different eras of sitcoms. That was a fantastic watch for that. But if you're telling me they're doing that with an animation, yeah, that's pretty dope.
The thing, they in the trailer, they actually show bits and pieces of the animation, and some of these look really sick. And when they went to try to collab with these animators in Japan, they were asking around, and apparently a lot of these animators are big Star Wars fans. Really big Star Wars fans. Hero's Journey.
Well, Star Wars is worldwide, and that's basically what it is. It's a blueprint for shonen anime.
And they were interviewing the animators on the video, and they seemed really excited. They're like, we can't wait for you guys to see the animation for this, or our take on different stories and everything.
Production IG, I just think of the style of Ghost in the Shell. That's probably what they're mostly famous for. I'm curious, if you're saying like Production IG is old school, right? Another old school powerhouse would be like Madhouse. And I love Madhouse's animation. Like Death Note, right? And if you haven't seen, Madhouse made a animated version for the X-Men.
Oh,
It looks pretty
really?
sick.
That's
I think you can see it on Netflix.
Oh, I need to check that out. That's actually.
I think that's where I watched it.
Mm.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. Just imagine this art style of Death Note with X-Men. It's pretty sick. It's not X-Men. I think it was Wolverine specifically.
Of course, it would be Wolverine
course it would.
specifically. That's my boy. That's my G. The other news that I had. They're releasing the first volume of Kaiju #8 in America. The cover arts. Ooh,
Finally on
sick.
paper print.
Yeah, paper print. I'm going to buy it. It looked really sick. I'm really excited for it.
As you can see, I have physicals and I have mangas here, a few of them as well. But lately, I've been like not collecting as much. In the last 2 years, I haven't been buying animes nor mangas. Light novels, yeah, but yeah, physically owning them gets very
It gets cumbersome. Yeah, and it's costly. But I really like it to where I was like, yeah, of course I'll spend my money on this. Kaiju #8. The other piece of news was that Oda cleared up that Denjiro is the strongest of the Akazaya samurai. He's like, in terms of power and swordsmanship, he is the strongest. I was like, that's my boy. That's my boy. I was just really excited. I was like, because I knew it from the beginning. I'm like, out of all these guys, like most of these guys are really strong, but Denjiro himself, he's really strong. Like compared to everybody else, like he blocked Zoro's attacks. Like, bruh, I give you props for that. And Oda's like, he's the strongest. Okay,
makes sense. And that's pretty much it. So we can get started with, what should we go with?
We're doing the Way of the Martial Artist.
Oh, the very new one? Okay.
So this one, as I said, just came out today, and I really like the art style for it. It looks super duper old, which is,
well, not super duper old. It looks more of a 2000s, 90s kind of artwork. If you see well, if you say that, super duper old to me is something like 80s, 70s, which there are some mangas and art styles. Like I recommended one on one of our manga Mondays, and that one had like early 90s, late 80s art style, which surprised me, and it's modern.
Same thing with this one, modern, but as JT said, early 90s, late 90s, 2000s drawing style. Martial art genre. So you're gonna get some fighting in this one. The main character, comedy too. His friend.
It's pretty funny. He was like Master Roshi. We have a Master Roshi and a Goku in this.
I really thought he did really remind me of Goku because he was uninterested with school. He was uninterested with homework. He was uninterested with sports. All he cared about was
modern society. He did not care for modern society. He was born and raised in the boonies, which is his grandpa. Gohan. He just wanted to become like his grandpa, who was a strong martial artist, and that's it.
Yeah.
So going a little bit back, not only the art style, but check out his first cover page, the coloring and all that. It's like a pastel, nice. It looks crayon color penciled. It's beautiful.
Really nice.
So again, start from the beginning. Start from the top. So it's just this dude, boonies, raised by a martial arts grandpa who's really strong. And then 3 years later, I think it was 3 years later, right?
It was a few, I don't know.
So he's in middle school, late middle school, in his third year in middle school.
Going on to high school.
He looks way older than that.
As they do. As they do. If you've noticed anything about your favorite kind of characters in school, daily life kind of anime, they always put them in like middle school or something, or early high school. But for the most part, the ones that are in middle school,
especially male characters,
they look really older than what they're supposed to. This is like, what is this?
Might as well just gone to high school. Like he put them in third year of middle school. I can see why he put him there, because his friend looks very childish.
Yeah, he's very childish. He's a really funny character.
His friend was just riding around on the bike. And he says, "Hey, there's a girl that's in trouble. Let's go save her." He's like, "Don't you have after school or whatever?"
Our main character Neru asked his friend, "Don't you have cram school to go to?"
Yeah, cram school. That's what it's called.
And then he responded with,
"Who cares about school when there's a hot girl to meet?" I respect that. So they go to an alleyway where there is a girl surrounded by three guys, and he just makes assures. He's like, "Are you sure they're messing with her?" And she doesn't know him. And his friends are like, "Who cares? This is a great chance to talk to a high school girl. Go!" And he does.
He goes because the three guys messing with the girl actually pull out a weapon, and they're about to, I'm they're about to stab her. So he went in for the save. And it was funny the way he went in for the save is because he grabbed it and he's like, whoa, what is this? Y'all have this ninja like knife.
It was a bow shuriken.
A bow shuriken. He's like, y'all have this bow shuriken. That's really cool. How'd you get this? Meanwhile, the thugs are just like
confused, and he just knocked one out. He immediately knocked one out. So the guy was like, what are you doing? How did you go down so easily? And then they see this guy just questioning them and hollering them for answers. So they take off. He follows them. And in the midst of him jumping in to save the girl, a little book comes flying out of his backpack, and the girl picks it up. And a very old, raggedy notebook.
And his friend checks on the girl to see if she's okay.
And then she is interested when she opens the notebook and says, does this belong to your friend? And then she wants to acquire more information on Neru, so she goes and hangs out with his friend, which is lovely for him. But she was just doing it to get more information on Neru. And then his friend tells her everything. What a friend! He tells him his whole life story, not only so the reader can know, but yeah, his friend just wanted to have a straight up conversation with this woman as long as he could. They go out in a little cafe or something and eat in a restaurant. He just tells him his whole life story. Living on the boonies with his grandpa. His grandpa disappeared 3 years ago, and now he just wants to fight. He just really wants to fight. He's not interested in anything but fighting.
After chasing the thugs away, Neru realizes that he dropped his notebook. He scounges around and tries to look for it.
He runs across town.
At this point, the readers are like, well, this is going to be an important notebook for him. Like, this is really important to him. So he's trying to look for it.
Meanwhile, the heroine is at his house in the boonies just waiting.
This man gave her his address. Like, why would you do that? That's a terrible friend.
So she's waiting, and he's taking forever because he's running across through time to look for his notebook. And then she gets like a lantern, I think, and that's when she notices writings on the walls. And then she starts walking around the abandoned house, and she sees that there's writing everywhere, in stones, on the floor. And it says, I want to get stronger.
Y'all might be wondering why he said lantern. Lantern because he lives out in the boonies and he has
no light, no electricity, no running gas, nothing.
Nothing. He just lives at this house like they did in old school times. That's how he lives, and he's okay with it because he is old school. Now that making sense, it fits with this art style because it's old school. She finds the drawings. It's almost like pictograms. It's kind of that he's drawing. It was really, really interesting. And he finally gets back to the house.
But not at the house. He's like somewhere off just training. And then he sees a Buddha statue. And he remembers his grandpa used to sit in front of that Buddha statue a lot. And he talks to it. It's like, it's creepy. And then it replies back, who are you calling creepy? He's like, whoa.
He got so scared.
But then he immediately knew, like, who's there?
And out from behind is the girl.
And she's wearing a mask.
That she stole. She blatantly stole from his house. She's a thief.
She talks to him about the notebook, and then she starts retelling the tale. So the notebook, it's a story basically. So what she figures out is that it's so old and torn, and she starts recounting it, and she starts fighting him while recounting it. And what's beautiful is that he gets into the fight, and then he also starts recounting the story. So we get this whole tale of this story while they're both fighting. And also while they're fighting, she notices that he's following all the martial arts moves from the notebook, which she finds impressive, and that she immediately understands. So this is how he learns. So his grandpa taught him, basically telling him the story by telling him by words and actions.
So his grandpa didn't know how to read or write, and in order to explain the book to him, he would act it out instead, and he was showing him the moves of like the martial arts inside of the book.
So at the end, they fight. She had the upper hand. She takes him down. He's really excited about the fight, that he had to take his thoughts down. Instead of writing or taking notes, he draws stick figures, redrawing what he saw.
He grabbed. Was it the same knife that he had?
The bow shuriken.
He took the knife. He's a thief.
He still had the bow shuriken, and that's what he used to draw the stick figures on a rock.
Oh, that was great. At this point, I'm getting. He remembered. He has really great memory in terms of he can actually remember the moves that he sees. He might be a genius, just hasn't unleashed his full potential.
You know that
yet.
will help him in martial arts, remembering your opponent's fighting style.
Mm-hmm.
If this has caught your attention so far, where there's a dude who doesn't care for modern society, he just wants to become a martial artist like his grandpa, and he wants to learn and fight strong people like Goku. And if that wasn't enough, I like the heroines lying to him. I'll put an end to your boredom. So you know what that means? Just a better action manga.
Or
maybe.
Or she is the entire catalyst to his future problems.
That's
like
true.
a certain character in Jujutsu Kaisen.
Well, she was covering her face just like our boy. So about her, she also tells about a person that she met who told her how the story. And also, if you want to become a martial artist, you need to collect 100 stones, you need to make 300 Buddhas, and then you have to train with the sword for 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously that might be his grandpa.
Yeah.
And so they have a connection.
Already right there, that connection.
Can we remember her name?
No.
Akebi or something.
Yeah, something Akebi. It's something Akebi. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, she was drawn really, really cool. It probably skips like a day later or something like that. And they're running somewhere, and then they finally get to these steps, and they start running up these steps, and he's like, "What's at the top of the steps?" And it's a high school for martial arts. It's a school for martial arts.
Young martial artists. A school full of young martial artists.
Oh,
That's
and
great.
that at the end is what got me. I was like, are we about to have one of those? Oh, man.
But so far, this isn't supernatural. It is obviously going to be exaggerated, but I hate it a little bit because it's in a modern concept. Why would there be a school with kids just learning pure martial arts? What's the use of that? Unless they're MMA fighters or UFC fighters, there's no point to living a life of martial arts unless it's for that, right?
Yeah.
In this manga.
Yeah. To hope it doesn't go supernatural route. I hope it is over exaggerated, but not supernatural, because last time that happened with God of High School, oh my god, I was so hyped for God of High School when the anime came out. I'm like, finally, freaking anime where it's a tournament and they're just fighting. They're just like, let's go, let's trade hands, let's trade kicks. Next thing you know, I can summon this thing to eat you. I can summon this shark, man. Get out of here. I didn't want any of that supernatural stuff. I just wanted a pure hand-to-hand combat. Let's kick some ass. For those that might tell me, well, go watch Baki. Baki is disgusting. Like, I mean, the drawings, the art style of it, right? I love Baki. Like, you don't, they're grotesque as F, man. Like,
It's a style.
I don't like it.
I've read quite a few mangas with that style.
I don't like it. I like the fact that they beat the crap out of each other. I'm like, that's Mortal Kombat stuff right there.
I can see that you don't like it. It's not for everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody has their own picks. I have friends that have told me that they didn't watch an anime because they didn't like the animation style. They didn't like how it looked.
So my main qualm with that is mainly because Baki was on Netflix and I started watching it on Netflix. It was entertaining. I watched it, right? But at the same time, there's this other anime called Kengan Ashura, and that one was also purely martial arts, no supernatural thing. They weren't so over exaggerated with, the muscliness and the right. Like they were.
Yeah, but it's just
fighters,
the person's
right?
art style.
Yeah,
it's the story art style.
Yeah.
If you don't like the art style of Baki, that's fine. It doesn't make it a bad show.
Yeah, no, it's definitely
manga.
not. Like it was entertaining for me. I watched the entire thing. I was like, man, this is dope, right?
Still, you could say it's grotesque.
Yeah, it's grotesque. And then Kengan Ashura, also martial arts, really cool fighting tournament thing. They were just kind of toned down. So I was like, great, I like this a little bit better.
So hopefully
Way
it
of the
doesn't take the route of everybody's favorite martial arts series of all time, Kenichi, the mightiest disciple.
Hey,
Kenichi, the mightiest disciple.
Low-key.
I love it. Love how it started. Love midway through the story. Just when the masters take over, that's when everything gets too exaggerated.
oh, yeah, because they're finally getting to that point where they're meeting some high-level fighters, and it's
But Kenichi, his friends, all the disciples, their fights are very well done.
yeah,
They're not super like running through water like a jet. I was like, oh, no.
Hey,
It's still funny, but
the elders,
nah.
the elders are badass though. So
Oh, then Apachai, bro.
Apachai,
That
Apachai,
fight with his own
Apachai.
brother and got punctured, and I was like, he done. He done.
And he was okay.
At the end. Spoilers?
Spoilers.
But spoilers been around for decades, so what are you doing? Go read the manga. It gets better.
Go watch it if you haven't.
People actually die, which I wasn't expecting.
Right?
But none of his friends.
Top tier English voice casting for
One of my
anime,
favorite
so.
dubs. Anyways,
Yeah.
back to the end. Final thoughts on Neru.
Like the drawing style for it's like a breath of fresh air with this whole lineup that we have in Shonen right now.
That everything looks the same. Is good to have something that stands out.
Absolutely. So that one is really an eye catcher. Love that it's martial arts. What do we have martial arts in Shonen Jump right now? I mean, we have
Almost
everything.
Anything can be considered martial arts, but it's a
Yeah,
fighting style,
fighting.
you know. But legit, just pure martial arts. This seems to take that route.
Yeah, I think this is the only one. Don't quote me on that. On Shonen Jump on the weekly serialization right now. Liking the Goku type vibes with the Grandpa Gohan.
I'm
He
still
disappeared.
iffy about that.
So I'll definitely read
But
I'll
overall,
continue reading it.
Recommended.
Recommended. There you go. Moving on to
Red Hood.
Oh, nice. Red Hood's chapter was really, really cool this week as well. I really enjoyed it, especially a bit of comedy towards the middle.
Yes.
It made me laugh.
So where we last left off, Grim and Velo just killed the old granny who was disguising herself as a werewolf.
Go look at the last video. We talked about it.
And Grim asked Velo to join his guild hunters, specifically a section that only hunts werewolves, which is who killed his chief or his father figure.
His reply was no.
That's the end of the story.
That's it. See you next time, folks.
No hero's journey.
I love that response. I love it. I love it. I love it. Because in most stories, the hero, the main protagonist, they're like, okay,
Off
yeah.
we go.
Off we go onto our new adventure. And he was just like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Why?
Well, before that, he was kind of going. They were leading you up to a yes because he said, "I don't want anybody else." The same trope line. This can happen to someone else, and I don't. If I can prevent that from this situation from happening to anyone else, I should. But then he said no. Why?
He said no because he wants to become the mayor, because now the mayor is dead, of the town, so he can protect the town. And another one of his responses that I really liked: why should I just go up and join you in this guild when if I leave, who's gonna protect my village? We can't keep hiring people. They're gonna go broke, and there won't be a village anymore. And I love that response. He is actually thinking,
Being responsible.
being responsible. So a very, very interesting archetype for your character. This kid is thinking.
Having responsibilities for others. Leader. Pretty good. I
like
love when
it.
his response was no. They showed Grib and she was pouting. She wasn't expecting that.
She was not.
She built up the guild and her hunters. She built them up very nice, like she should. She just gets a no. He told her, "You were a little girl, and now you're a full-grown woman. I don't trust that." You're just as weird as those werewolves in my book.
Such a great response, I'm telling you.
He is great. He knows, like, I'm not fully gonna trust things I don't understand. That's great.
That's such a, I'm telling you, other characters in your favorite anime manga.
He's blowing them out the water in just 2 chapters.
I'll go along with you. Okay, let's go.
Lottie. And then,
Dies. No, so already Velo is really, really interesting compared to
2 chapters.
in 2 chapters.
So this shows why people liked it in the impressions, and it was number 1.
Yeah.
Her response was, okay, so let me get this straight. You don't fully trust me, and you want your villagers to be safe. So if I can knock 2 birds with 1 stone, will you go with me? It's like, well, and then we cut, and
Yeah, he didn't respond. He's like, well, okay.
Then we see that there was more wolves. There was more werewolves. And now that they know that the granny is dead, they're like, well, it's more meat for us. So then they decide to go into the village and they disguise themselves. One of them disguises himself as a human while the other one goes on a rampage to get their attention. And so they plot out how to try to gather some people so they can eat them later.
The werewolves are brothers, quote unquote. So the smart one goes in, is the one that disguises himself, and like the dumber one went out and basically served as a distraction, started tearing up the town. Then shout out to the bell guy. That boy was just like,
Look at
yes, the intensity on his face.
He was scared, and the werewolf was coming closer.
And he just kept going faster.
He
did not leave his post. He did not leave his post.
And in his inner monologue, he's all like, I should leave. I really should run, but I'm the lookout. This is my job.
He just rang the bell harder.
Oh, so kudos to him. Kudos to him. And
that's
then
the guy you want looking out for your village, bro.
All of a sudden, Grimm's all like, can I borrow this? And he says, no.
That was so beautiful. She just comes out behind the bell.
So much rejections this chapter, but here she's all like, nah, I'm just gonna take it.
She took it. And she smacks the werewolf over the head with it. She's like, this is nice and heavy. I like it. Wow.
Just jumps off from the lookout and right onto the werewolf. So one thing we know, she has super strength.
She is really, really strong. But I love it. No question mark. No.
That's how I read it too. Like, no, obviously not. This is my bell.
This is my job. I'm gonna ring the crap out of this bell. And she's like, it's okay. Everybody got the message. I saw them all running. You're good. I'll take this now. Oh, so halfway through the chapter, I'm busting out in freaking tears laughing. And it cuts back into the main town hall where all the villagers are gathered up. And the werewolf is over there plotting. He's like,
I'm like, how do people not know that this guy is a villain? He looks like a villain. He looks so ugly. He looks like Arlong.
He did look. He got a whole big nose.
He looks exactly like Arlong. Like, I see the inspiration here.
He looks so ugly. He was just in his mind. He was plotting.
Like, all the people look pretty normal, like regular anime characters, like regular background characters. There was no one that looked that ugly. How does he not stand out, guys? You should know.
And then in comes Velo, our boy, and he's like looking around because he's looking for the werewolf.
And the werewolf noticed because he had a musket or something. Yeah. And he's walking around. He's like, oh, he'll never find me.
And then next thing you know, next panel at the guy's head, and he's like, Nani?
How?
He's like, well, you look ugly. Nah, he didn't say that. But basically, it's what he said. He's like, I know everybody in this village. This is my village. I know everybody. You, I don't know. I was like,
the chief took me in when my family was killed, and the village also helped raise me. So the whole village is my family. And I know when I see a stranger that I don't recognize within my family, not to trust that stranger. So he has that musket in front of him.
Yep.
Is that how the chapter ended?
That's how the chapter ended. It was,
wow, that was it.
And it was like, bang, and then that just ended like that.
Even the werewolf was surprised, like, how could he know everybody's face? But he does.
Yeah, he grew up with them. Like, if you grew up with these people, you're gonna know them. Already, for me, that was like 10-10 chapter.
Great chapter.
Great chapter.
Love the Velo response. Love how responsible he seems to be of a character. Mm-hmm. Again, the essence of protecting family
so
within
really
a character.
Good.
Yeah,
good head on his shoulders.
And Grim. Yeah. Grim is a kudere, so those that are pretty much apathetic, doesn't show much emotion, but
we have
still
a Dede video too. You should check that out.
Still takes charge or get things done. So she's pretty funny in that aspect.
Can I take this? No. So Red Hood, second chapter,
killed
10,
it again.
10. Let's go.
Yep.
Waiting for the next chapter.
And that's why we will be covering Red Hood consistently now, because it seems to be going on a good route.
Next up will be Dr. Stone. Dr. Stone.
Another good chapter for Dr. Stone.
Where we left them off last time is they teamed up with the Spaniards in Barcelona and asking them to help them in their mining of the fluorite. The chapter starts off, they're mining the fluorite, they're gathering these things.
And they have it. They acquire.
They acquire the fluorite, and then Senku immediately makes a lens out of it, which he gives to Suika, and she's like, oh, like the glasses. Yes, Suika, like the glasses, sweetie.
Adorable.
So cute. So what he does with it, he builds a freaking telescope. A bad A telescope. The ones that can see to the moon. That was dope. And then Kohaku's like, we can use this to see the Y-Man.
Yes, Kohaku. Yes.
But we're not going to. We're going to go on a rocket ship. So they're still in the process of making the rocket
And
ship.
they have a small rocket.
Oh,
A ballistic missile.
That was more towards the end. So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to go to India from Barcelona.
No, when they say, like, how are we going to get there? Kiseki shows them.
Yeah.
It was already built. It was there.
Oh,
It wasn't
really?
towards the end. They
Oh.
already had it. Kisekis are like, with this. And they see, what's that? So the people of modern time that know the modern world, they're like, a rocket. And then the people of the new age, the Stone Age, are like, what?
Yeah, what is this?
They were not impressed, but the other people were, because
Yeah.
they know what it is.
They knew what it was. I forget who it was. I think it is Ryusei.
Ryusui.
He told them, well, we could get there, but we're going to have to go all around the continent of Africa from Spain to get there through the Cape of Hope. I forget the name. I forget. If you're like a geography person, you know what we're talking about.
Dr. Stone also has a geography person, so she also explained some of it.
However, the problem that they've encountered is that the Perseus no longer has any fuel to be able to get them that far.
Not enough fuel.
Not enough fuel to get them that far.
And then it's hard to create the same fuel like they did before in the mass.
Which leads them to another route, the Suez Canal that runs through Africa, I believe, to get to India.
Like right in half. So if only they had a telescope to be able to see if the pathway is clear.
Because it's been many years, centuries since it's been used, they're hypothesizing if it's even passable or has it been caved in. So what did they do? They get their air balloon. They make an air balloon.
That says hell for some reason. I'm like, why would you put that on an air balloon?
And they put their geographer on there. She goes up with the telescope, takes a look. She says,
Kohaku's are like, are we clear? Nope.
It's covered. And then the interesting part is
Senku was like, well, if only we had something that could blast the path.
And he's like, oh wait, we do.
And they instantly set up the rocket and they fill it up with explosions.
They fill it up with explosives.
Senku looked oddly proud. And if you remember from the beginning of Dr. Stone, Senku wanted to build his own rocket ship. And this is step one. So he was actually very proud of being able to make it finally.
That was really awesome.
And they blew up that canal.
Yep. He said, got a blast. Boom. How are you wondering? I think Ryusei was controlling it too.
No, it was Senku. He had the remote. He had the remote. He had like an Xbox style control,
and he was just like, "Let me do this." And then that's where the chapter ended. The dam that was there, they blew it to smithereens.
Poor otters.
Yeah, the otters are probably dead. So that's where the chapter ended. Yay!
Yeah, that was real quick.
That was really
quick. A lot of artwork.
Now moving on to the Piece of One,
the big one,
or One Piece. We start off the chapter with Otama being chased. They're trying to take her down. Yeah. They're trying to take her down
because they know she's controlling those others.
So Usopp and Nami are doing their best to protect her. In comes Horselina for the save. And
Horselina.
And she gives Nami and Otama a ride, and Usopp's left to fend for himself. He's like, I need a ride too. It cuts into the CP0.
The members that are waiting
and
in the room, secured room.
Yeah, and we finally realize why they're there. Their main reasoning to why they're there is because they want Who's Who dead.
They need to get rid of him. He has information, most likely because of the Gum Gum fruit or some. Maybe he was a CP member, so he has some information. But one of them pointed out that he has old information. They're like, nah, we still need to kill him.
Yeah, they're like, there should be no precedent that you can escape for us and still live.
So they're also keeping track on the battle. And what surprised me is I forgot that the battle started with Kaido's group at 30,000 against Luffy's group at 5,000. And now the playing field is out at Kaido having 16,000 and Luffy's group having 9,000. So it went up. And it's all thanks to Otama.
It's all thanks to Otama. And then also Chopper, because he was healing the the people queen that was just like
Y'all
throwing
fodder. Y'all gonna die. Your death doesn't mean nothing. But as long as we win, that's what your death is all worth. And those people turned when Chopper was able to heal them.
And they brought up their numbers, so now
this is a funny war. They're losing numbers, but Luffy's side is gaining numbers.
And the CP0, they don't care. They really don't care. They're
well,
like,
this isn't looking good for Kaido, but we're really here to kill Who's Who, to make sure Who's Who dies. And one of them points out, well, he's fighting Jinbei, so maybe Who will die.
Yep.
And then we cut to the fight.
And we cut to the fight between Jinbei and Who's Who, and it's going off. We find out Who's Who is a racist.
Fish racist.
He is racist against fishmen because he said...
Well, before that, he starts talking about his time spending in jail, and someone, one of the guards, was making fun of him for all the torture that he had to go through every day, and mentions about the sun god. The prisoners tend to worship the sun god because he is like a beacon of hope. The sun god Nika, and he, at his desperation, starts worshiping because he hopes that his torture can end one day, and then he finds out that there was a group of pirates, the Sun Pirates, who also used to worship the sun god. So he starts inquiring Jinbei, well, since you were the leader of the Sun Pirates, why don't you tell me a little bit more? But a little before that, he did mention where the racist comment comes in, or the discriminatory comment comes in, and he says, you're pretty good fighting on land for a fishman. And then Jinbei looks unimpressed. He's like, really, guy? You're gonna be a racist in this modern age?
He basically said that's not cool,
You know racism against fishermen is out of style, right?
He's like, bro, it's 2021. Which was interesting because I did not like this translation of it. I read a fan translation. It was so much better because instead of this one, in the Viz Media translation, they said he was shocked. He's like, I'm in shock or something like that.
Oh, he said, I'm shocked that there's still, you're still talking about discrimination on fishermen in this modern age.
Yeah.
Or something.
And in the Fanzine translation, he's like, I don't know what to say to that, but yeah, bro, it's not cool to be racist right now. Or basically the same thing, right?
Just reiterated, but it sounded better.
Yeah, and then the comment was a little bit worse. It actually was a little bit worse. Can't remember what it was, but it was a little bit worse.
A bit more pricky.
A little. You could blatantly tell like that was racist. Yeah, versus this one, it was like a little bit toned down.
Again, this is why I don't like official publication translations often, is because they have to write a fine line, because they're in the same mindset as the Japanese. This is for young adults or young boys, so the language that they can use is very limited. So they have to reiterate it in a way where you don't lose the meaning. The way you say it can really have an impact on how you take the words that they're saying. Yeah,
and before any of y'all go and try to be like, well, y'all just hate translator. No, that's not what we're saying.
Oh, translators get paid minimum too. So I have a bunch of respect for translators, especially anime translators. Because think about it, you want your anime now. Well, there's someone who gets that episode the same day it's released in Japan, and that person's like, okay. Doing their best, and especially if it's a very heavy dialogue anime, much respect to them because they have to crunch so much words. So it's never perfect. It can never be perfect.
So as JT said, the main reasoning, maybe sometimes people don't like it, is because as JT said, it's a fine line, and one, they're working for a company, and that company sets standards and guidelines as to what they cannot say in terms of the translation, versus a fans translation, they're doing it for free, so they don't care.
And for their love of the series.
They're doing it for the love of the series. They try to stay as accurate as possible, but also keeping that kind of like...
Oh, they keep it as close to the translations as much as possible.
Exactly. Because they don't have any guidelines to follow.
So I tend to trust fan translations a little bit more than public translations or published translations because of that. And also it's like, oh, sometimes they're not very good. Yeah, sometimes they can't be very good at their Japanese, but you can tell when you read the story, and throughout the story, you can get a feel if this person is good at translating Japanese to English if you read enough manga.
So going back into the story, he said the racist comment, and now he's inquiring Jinbei about the sun god and what he knows about it.
And Jinbei is giving him no gripe. He's like,
He's like, you're a racist. I don't talk to racists like that. And right now he's using the finger poke that we saw back at
with Rob Lucci.
With Rob Lucci and the gang, and he was just trying to poke at Jinbei.
When Rob Lucci transformed into his cheetah form, it turned to claws. And with this dude, he transforms and it becomes also like a slash.
Yeah, also like a slash. Apparently, his is so strong, even with armament hockey, he couldn't block it.
Yeah,
it still hurts.
Well, one of the ones that I was impressed with was the Fang
pistol.
Yeah,
the Fang pistol.
The Fang pistol is basically it's the shape of his mouth. It's like he just goes ah.
You couldn't see JT do it, so I'll do it.
And literally the shape of his fangs
come out as like air blast or something.
Yeah. And it went through the floor and it hit the ground and people were like, whoa, what was that? Oh man, that is very strong.
I can just imagine there's like some fodder soldier walking around the bottom floor.
Soldier B.
And all you hear is bah. He gets hit by he got hit on his shoulder.
I'm down.
Moment. What happened? I don't know, bro. I heard bah. And my arm was bleeding.
And that's the story of Soldier B.
R.I.P. Soldier B. Oh man.
Back to the battle.
Who's who is trying to poke. He's poked the crap out of Jinbei with his fingers.
And Jinbei goes to full body armament.
From what it looked like, it looked like he went full body hockey, and you just see who's finger go. It broke his finger. And he's like, ah. And then Jinbei, oh, I love this move from Jinbei. He said, "You're not going anywhere," and he steps on his tail. He's like, "Nah, bro." Remember that racist comment you said? And he pulls out a move that we hadn't seen before. It's a secret art technique of the Fishman Karate.
Well, he didn't just pull down his tail. He grapples his hands.
Did he?
Yeah, he grappled his hands too. He grabbed them, and that's when he's not going anywhere.
Oh, okay. I guess.
And then he unleashed his move.
Yeah.
But I felt like he used the same move to throw off Big Mom from the ship when they were being chased.
That was the Arabesque fist. So it's the same stance and everything. It does like the same kind of movements, that kind of sound waves and stuff. But I guess this was like an improved version of it or something like that. I forget the name of the technique though. But it was really cool. And he was just like, "I'm not telling you shit." And he just punches him in the face, and all you see is who's.
Oh yeah, so before he punched him, he told him, when you start talking racist and want to talk about my people's history, you better not be surprised for what's coming.
Yeah, and then immediately, boom.
Punches him right in the face.
In the face. Took it to the face, and that's where the chapter ended. So I think that fight's gonna be finished up now. That looks like the finishing move. So we'll go on to the next chapter, and we'll move on to the next Straw Hats. Probably gonna be, I'm gonna go ahead and say now, it's gonna be Brooke and Robin versus Black Maria.
We actually left off quite a few months ago on that.
That was a while back ago.
I would like that. I'm intrigued for that.
Yeah, it's
because we haven't seen Robin fight too often or go all out, and in this one, her opponent seems to be very strong.
Yeah, and then Brooke as well. He's gonna go all out.
Yeah.
Still to this day, till this freaking day, Brooke, MVP of Whole Cake, bro, stood up to Big Mom on his own like a badass, bro. He's like, he immediately went in there when he was in their chapter there. He's like, he called her like a young ma'am or something because he's older, obviously. He's like
bones old.
He's bones old. Skull joke. It's like young ma'am who goes into a fight thinking they'll lose, and then he just pulls out his sword, and it's like the best panel I've ever seen. It's just him there facing up against his Yonko with an overpowered Zeus and an overpowered Prometheus. Oh, if you don't watch One Piece or whatever, go look it up. You just type in the panel Big Mom versus Brooke panel or something. Look it up. It's hands down one of the most badass things I've seen. It's up there in terms of crew moments.
We haven't gotten a big full Brooke battle, right?
Never.
A solo battle. So I'm very intrigued on the whole thing, the whole arsenal that Brooke has.
Yeah. Where did he get ice powers from?
He has so many different weird powers now. His soul power.
I like the ghost one because literally that one's good for reconnaissance. Reconnaissance. He literally can just and then scout out. He can scout out the place at the same time. Scare the crap out of you. Ooh. The fact that Oda can make a power so awesome, but at the same time make it so goofy, I love that about Oda. It's just like, I'm gonna haunt you.
Makes him the greatest.
And yes, he's actually been able to frighten people. Oh, so great, so great.
But as great as Brook and his powers have been, it's just so much he can play with because there's so many things going on. He gave Jinbei a full battle right now, and Jinbei was dominant in that battle. Absolutely. But that's because he just joined the Straw Hats. It hasn't been that long since he joined the Straw Hats because he told Luffy, "Yes, I will join. Bye. I gotta
Literally, he's like, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you there, bro."
So we get an extension of the helmsman of the Straw Hats, Jinbei, not being in the Straw Hat crew. So I'm more curious on a full-blown battle between Brook or Robin against an enemy. Because Jinbei, as we can see, Fishman Karate is pretty cool. His hockey, armament, all that. He's pretty OP. He's a warlord. Not OP. He's just a warlord. Pretty strong. So for those that say like, well, Jinbei did that too against Big Mom, it wasn't as cool as Brook.
Yeah. So because Brook was by himself, and
if you are a One Piece fan and you know all the Straw Hats that are in it now, Jinbei by far is my least favorite. He's pretty boring for me.
Yes, man.
He puts me to sleep.
That's a cat, bro.
Really don't care for Jinbei.
Jinbei is a good addition to the crew. He's dope. He's helped Luffy a lot in this story. I respect him. Good addition to the crew. That's just my personal.
Oh, he's a good addition. I'm not denying that. I'm just saying he's boring.
Oh, in terms of, I'm guessing you mean his like story and his character.
I find it interesting that he
some
was pirates,
slave, bro.
I know. Some pirates and all that. What they stood for, right? His character is boring. He bores me. More like Brook, please. More Brook.
Well, hopefully we'll get Brook next chapter, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it now. I believe it will be the fight between Brook, Robin, and Black Maria, which is gonna be very, very interesting to see. But I believe that's it. Yeah, that's all the chapters.
Oh, well, again with One Piece, a little bit to the front. I love the cover page.
Yeah.
It was what's his name? Page
Ulti
1
and Page 1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Page 1 and Ulti. That's such a weird name for
Page
a character.
1, right?
Page 1.
But I was okay.
That's Ulti, the dinosaur girl that was chasing Usopp and Nami in the previous chapter. It's funny because Oda does requests. He does cover pages with fans' requests, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. Is there other mangas they do that?
I don't know.
Probably, but no one does it as much more as Oda. And it says, please draw Ulti and Page 1 has kids. And then it says right there, here is Ulti and Page 1 playing with their dinosaur toys, grown-ups.
As adults. Like, yeah, I'll do this for you, but they're gonna be adults.
But the way I took that is Ulti and Page 1 have not grown up mentally.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I thought about it too. Because literally, she calls him Pei Pei. Like, that's such a cute nickname. She's like, how could you do this to Pei Pei? They're introducing her next episode.
Great.
So they're introducing the whole Topi Robo next episode. And the director for that episode is going to be the same director that directed the episode they reintroduced the Warlords.
Oh, that one look cool.
It's going to look sick, dude. They already showed the preview at the end of the episode today.
I'm not going to lie, though. They're not that important.
They're not, but it's really
gonna
cool.
Look cool. When you introduce like villains, like high archetype villains, it's going to look cool. You'll always get that shoo silhouettes and then introductions.
Finally. And I'm just hoping, I don't know who the voice actor is for Ulti. I just really hope, I just want to hear Pei Pei. Like, I just want to hear it.
Yeah.
It's going to be really interesting. But I believe that's it for the chapters for this week. So we don't have anything else.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
With that.
And with that, guys, we hope you enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for our next video. We're gonna keep doing these every week while these chapters, every time we read them, every time they're released. So
the last video, again, a little bit late, just released a day before the week. Mm-hmm. Hopefully this one will be right on time, and this one will stay on schedule from this week forward. I'm getting better at these, guys. Come on, just a little bit better. Except towards the end of that episode 2, I don't know what happened. That was an export problem. That wasn't my problem.
Yeah, if you hear it, that was an export problem.
It was like 1 hour and 4 minutes. Towards the end, like at 1 hour, 4 minutes, and 50 seconds, I heard a little sharp noise. I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, so technical issues on the computer. But just in case, this video for the chapters They were released July 4th. Today, July 4th, that's where the chapters are from. So yeah, guys.
We'll always put it on the description just in case.
All right. And we will see you guys next time.
Adios.
I'll go along with you. Okay, let's go.